New concerns over the cyber threat from China. A security firm reporting hackers tied to the country have tried to penetrate corporate computers. And this happened as Chinese President Xi Jinping reached an agreement with President Obama last month over this very issue. Joining us right now is Sven Schrecker. He is the chief architect for Intel's Internet of Things Security Solutions. And Sven, it is good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you see a lot running Intel's Internet of Things Security Solutions. First, give us your sense. Characterize how big an issue this problem really is.
Well, Maria, the world is really a dangerous place, and we're just worried that we need to keep everything safe. And so it really is a new set of problems that we have to deal with. For example, if you rewind history a little bit, we'll find that there are certain patterns. For example, in the PC revolution, everybody needed to have a PC on their desktop. And then over time, we discovered that if you wire them all up together, we have the internet, and there's this whole new world of possibilities. But that comes with a whole new world of vulnerabilities as well. So
what are the vulnerabilities? I'm just trying to get at how big of an issue this is.
Well, there are a number of vulnerabilities. So, for example, the things, the actual devices that are out there, they have individual vulnerabilities, the laptops, but also your phones and all of the other components. So imagine, for example, automobiles are one of the recent news items. The automobiles are actually rolling computers nowadays. And so the automobiles have certain vulnerabilities because they are computers and they have compute processes on them. So if you can hack into those, you now have access to other capabilities. So it's important to keep the things secure. But nowadays, the things all communicate with each other, which we learned after the mobile revolution, that with all the cloud infrastructure, it is sucking all these devices to become smart and to be connected and enabled. And that leads to
How can our viewers stay safe? What do you recommend to viewers out there that have things? They've got phones, they've got cars, they've got home alarm systems. How do we help these guys?
So what you need to make sure is that you keep your software updated, that you have reputable applications on them, use some of the reputable platforms and vendors, etc. That's really the best choice for the consumers out there. Now, for small businesses, the problem is a little bit more extreme because there's a lot less ability to absorb cybersecurity issues. And when you get to the larger corporations, of course, there are dedicated departments that handle this. And then as you get into government, etc., things get more capable. But there are a couple of different perspectives there. So one way to go about this is to go to the device manufacturers. The manufacturers really build in the security capabilities, but then the owners and operators, and it could be the automobile makers, it could be electric grid, it could be a number of different critical infrastructure components, etc. They're responsible for putting it together and really absorb that risk. So they have to put these pieces together. And that scales from the electric grid all the way down to the individual consumers. So really at the end of the day, the end customer is the one that needs to put these pieces together.
Anastasia asked you a really important question during the break, and you were trying to figure out what are they after.
Right. I mean, a couple of questions, I guess. What is the biggest threat to the United States when it comes to national security, when it comes to cybersecurity? We talked about the Chinese hacking into certain systems. What are they after?
So it's difficult to say who's after what. There are a lot of different scenarios out there. There are a lot of different threats out in the real world. And we need to make sure that there are security capabilities in place. And the thing is that security is not a one-size-fits-all. There is no magic bullet that allows us to protect everything. So it depends on what is being protected. In some cases, it might be national security information. In other situations, it might be financial information or intellectual property. So it all depends. But the key here is that we have the ability to have the individual components be able to defend themselves from cyber attacks. And if one is compromised, which is inevitable, then we have the ability to keep that threat from spreading to other places.
And the bad actors, is it China? Is it Russia? I mean, who is really behind much of the upset?
There are a lot of bad actors out there. and it depends on the motivation, on the threats and what it is that they're after. So they can be international, it can be local, it can be internal. Many of the threats that we see are actually internal. And those are people that work at the company that are stealing information. And really the access to information is the key because data is the currency for the new economy.
Yeah.
And then over time, we have to understand that the security is protecting the data, and the data is really our privacy, and it really becomes a privacy concern at some point.
Sven, thank you so much. You've scared us for sure.
I was already scared.
I hope I've encouraged you that there are solutions in place.
Exactly. Sven Schrecker from Intel, thank you so much. We'll be right back.